are people putting into savings? You might be surprised. How much people are spending versus how much they're saving is actually in this video. We're diving into how much money people are really setting aside and taking a look at some of the real reasons behind these alarming saving habits. U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the average savings rate is about 4%, which means people are holding on to just 4% of their income and spend. If someone takes home $50,000 after taxes and manages to save $2,000 over the course of a year, their personal savings rate would be 4%. Includes everything. Money put into a savings account, retirement fund, or any other type of savings. Simple enough. But when you think about how much people really financially secure, 4% starts to seem pretty low. So if you're saving more than 4% of your income, whether that's going into a savings account or a mix of both, you're already ahead of the average person. But when you compare that 4% to what financial experts recommend, which is saving around 10% of your income for retirement alone, it's clear that most people are falling way short of the mark. The average savings rate tends to fluctuate a bit. From one thing is clear, it hasn't been going in the right direction. If you look back at the savings rate during the 70s, 80s, and much of the 90s, you'll notice that much higher percentage of their income. Back then, savings rates were much stronger, which could be due to more affordable living costs, better spending habits, or both. Past rates with today's, it's easy to see how much things have shifted. The cost of living undoubtedly has a lot to do with the savings rate being so low. Healthcare, daycare, and education expenses have increased dramatically over the past decade, outpacing wage growth in many cases. Below, the average rent for a two-bedroom place is around $2,000 per month, and that doesn't even include utilities. At the same time, mortgage rates have 2.5% to 7.5%, which really increases monthly payments for homebuyers. A $400,000 home that might have had a principal and interest payment $100 per month at a 3% interest rate with 10% down just a few years ago now costs about $2,400 at today's rates, a monthly difference. Daycare is another heavy burden. Full-time daycare often costs $1,000 to $1,500 per month per kid. Kids, that's upwards of $30,000 annually, as much as a second mortgage. Healthcare doesn't offer much relief either. Even families with insurance are often paying $6,000 to $8,000 a year in premiums, plus out-of-pocket costs for copays, prescriptions, and deductibles. It also continued to weigh people down. Many young adults are still repaying student loans, with monthly payments ranging from $300 to $500 or more per month to their ability to save. It's not all due to the cost of living, though. Consumer behaviors have definitely taken a major turn for the worse, becoming more and more reliant on debt. Using credit isn't just common, it's almost a built-in part of adult life. From the time people enter college or the workforce, introduced to debt as a necessary tool. Student loans to pay for school, credit cards for everyday expenses or emergencies, car loans to get to and from plans for everything from new phones to family vacations. It's not unusual for debt to stack up quickly. According to LendingTree, the average is $742 per month, and that's just one vehicle. Many households have two cars, which means they could be spending $1,400 just on auto loans. With such large monthly obligations for depreciating assets, it's no wonder people are broke, and that doesn't include a mortgage or student loan payments. With so much of people's monthly income going towards paying off past purchases, there's often very little left over to save. This kind of debt-heavy lifestyle has become so normalized that it's hard to imagine adult life without it, which makes consistent saving feel out of reach. That constantly encourages spending, and all too often, it's money we don't have. People frequently think nothing of stopping by the store and casually are more after work on things they don't really need, whether it's new clothes or the latest home decor. Or they head out to eat, dropping $100 on a meal without giving much thought to how quickly that adds up over time. Of course, treating yourself now and then is perfectly fine, but it's become common for people on a regular basis, often without realizing how much they're overspending. Many people might justify it by thinking that as long as they're making decent money, but more often than not, it's far beyond what they should be spending, especially if they aren't aggressively saving or investing. The pressure to keep up with a certain also plays a role. If you don't have a shiny new car or a house with sleek, modern aesthetics, it can feel like you're somehow falling behind. What's out of need in some cases, at the same time, people are losing the art of being content with what they already have, if it's not the latest and greatest. Instead of being home, cars, clothes, and so on, they're constantly chasing the next purchase or upgrade, and in the process, they miss out on the simple joy of enjoying life and need for more. On the other side of things, a lot of people are sticking with wages that just barely keep up with the cost of living. Instead of actively looking for that actually pay them what they're worth, they stay in the same job year after year, settling for whatever small raise their employer decides to hand out, and give out more than they have to. Sometimes it's because as an employee, they feel loyal to the company, or maybe they're just too busy or burnt out to job hunt, but it's a pretty stagnant pay. According to Forbes, people who stay at the same company typically get about a 3% raise each year. And once you factor not really a raise at all, it's just staying level, or worse, falling behind in terms of what your paycheck can actually cover. When you think about the experience, you'll be pushing for a pay raise that matches the value you bring. If one company won't pay up, another probably will. A low savings rate might be short term, but it can have real consequences over time. For starters, it means a lot of people aren't prepared for emergencies, and when you're not ready for the quickly lead to bigger problems. In retirement, you can forget about that. Saving just 4% a year makes it hard to cover those surprise expenses, let alone to actually retire. It's not just individual households that feel the impact. It affects everyone. When people don't have savings, they cut back on spends and become more vulnerable to economic shocks. This can lead to things like evictions, car repossessions, and foreclosures, which in turn create a wreck the entire economy. Raising the savings rate isn't as simple as just telling people to save more. It takes more than good advice. It requires realizing the root causes of why people struggle to save in the first place. People need to focus on being content with what they actually have, instead of constantly chasing. Buying unnecessary things might feel good in the moment, but the excitement quickly fades, leaving behind only the financial consequences. Try and keep up with others, because all it does is fuel the cycle of comparison and consumerism, making things worse in the long run. Instead of just accepting their boss offers, knowing inflation will quickly erase it, people should be actively looking for new opportunities or figuring out how to add more value at work, exploring different roles, considering new companies, or even becoming self-employed or starting a business to take control of their income, staying proactive about their income. Beyond just saving, people really need a plan. The truth is, many don't know how much they should be putting away, and the whole thing can feel like, how much should go towards emergency savings? What will it take to retire comfortably? Even having a rough estimate can take some of the pressure off and make it. A 4% savings rate just might seem like a statistic, but it reflects a lot about where we are as a country economically. It's a reminder that ability plays a role in financial health. It's also about the broader systems we live in. If we want that number to go up, we'll need both individual action and collective